Imagine seeking like a really ancient, profound cure for the absolute exhaustion of your soul.
Right, a heavy undertaking.
Yeah, you consult this oracle, expecting timeless wisdom, and suddenly, mid-sentence, it starts quoting the former Secretary General of the United Nations.
Which is just, I mean, it's totally absurd.
Exactly. But that is precisely the bizarre scenario we are facing in the text you brought us today. So, welcome to this custom deep dive. We are looking at a source you provided to understand a deeply personal and, well, profound topic: Islamic signs you are spiritually exhausted.
And honestly, the premise itself is ambitious, like attempting to diagnose the state of a human soul through a digital medium. It's fraught with contradictions right from the start.
It really is. So the source you gave us is an excerpt from a YouTube video transcript. The channel is called Path of Light, or Ain Chal Dry in Bengali.
Mm-hmm.
And the title of this specific video translates to Know the 20 Signs of Weak Faith, or It's be a sign bits okay, that's fine. The keep You clearly came to this looking for a structured, illuminating guide to help diagnose your own spiritual fatigue. But the actual transcript we have in front of us is, well, it's incredibly brief.
Very brief and highly fragmented.
Yes, and it takes a wildly unexpected turn that perfectly highlights the friction between ancient theology and, modern algorithms. Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, because the gap between the promise of that title and the reality of the transcript is where the most valuable psychological and technical insights are hiding.
Absolutely.
If we look at the framing, right, 20 signs of weak faith, the creator's using weak faith, or a dip in iman, as basically synonymous with your prompt about spiritual exhaustion.
Right. They're linking the two concepts.
Exactly. Because in many Islamic theological frameworks, faith isn't a permanent static baseline. It operates much more like a biological rhythm.
It ebbs and flows.
Yes, it naturally fluctuates. It experiences these peaks of intense connection and then valleys of severe desensitization, mostly based on environmental stressors, actions, cognitive load.
A desensitized receptor is a much better way to think about it than just feeling tired.
Yeah, it's a useful metaphor.
Because it implies that the signals of meaning are still broadcasting, but your internal receiver it's too worn out to process them.
Precisely. You just can't pick up the signal.
But let me push back on the premise of this video for a second.
Sure.
The title is essentially a spiritual listicle, right? We are talking about profound existential exhaustion is going to a platform engineered to fracture your attention span, like a high-frequency, algorithmically driven environment like YouTube, really the mechanism to cure a desensitized spiritual receptor.
I mean, it seems entirely counterintuitive, doesn't it?
Totally.
You are attempting to cure cognitive overload by engaging with the primary engine of cognitive overload.
Right. It's like opening a medical dictionary to diagnose why you're feeling so tired, but you're expecting a bulleted list of symptoms to just magically cure you.
But what's fascinating here is human psychology has this deeply ingrained desire to quantify the unquantifiable.
We love a good list.
We do. We desperately want to map the abstract. Yeah. I mean, historically, classical Islamic scholars think of theologians like Al-Ghazali. They wrote massive, multi-volume treatises categorizing the diseases of the heart.
Oh, wow. So lists aren't a new thing for this topic.
Not at all. They use lists and structures, but those historical frameworks were designed as sprawling topographic maps of human psychology.
Okay, so they were detailed.
Very. They required deep, slow cognitive engagement to navigate. You had to sit with them.
And the modern digital delivery system it completely strips the map of its topography.
Exactly. It flattens it.
It turns a philosophical exploration into a GPS telling you to just take the next 20 left turns to reach enlightenment.
That's a great way to put it.
It is the gamification of the soul. We crave the structure because it reduces the immediate anxiety of the unknown, but a fast-paced listicle fundamentally changes how we consume introspection.
It does. And the paradox of this spiritual gamification is that the human brain naturally seeks categorization to reduce cognitive load. So when you are spiritually exhausted, your cognitive load is already completely maxed out. You lack the energy for deep, unstructured contemplation.
You're running on empty.
Yeah. So a video promising a neatly numbered 20-point diagnostic checklist, that feels incredibly appealing.
It promises maximum clarity for minimal effort.
Exactly. The danger is that spiritual exhaustion cannot be cured passively. It requires you to sit in the discomfort of that void.
But wait, doesn't that make this entire exercise we're doing inherently hypocritical?
How so?
Well, we are sitting here recording a digital deep dive, analyzing a digital YouTube video about avoiding digital traps to cure spiritual exhaustion. Aren't we just adding another layer of static to the listener's spiritual receptor?
Look, that is the defining tension of modern learning. We are literally using the very tools that fracture our attention to try and rebuild it.
Yeah, it's a bit ironic.
It is. However, analyzing the mechanism of the trap is the first step to dismantling it. And the creator of this video actually seems intimately aware of this tension between the medium and the message.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that awareness dictates exactly how the transcript begins.
Oh, right, the traditional foundation. Because they don't just jump into sign number 1.
Right.
Before getting to the listicle, the video attempts to build a very specific architectural space through language. The transcript starts with standard foundational Islamic phrases in Arabic.
Let's look at those.
We have, and excuse my pronunciation, Sosalaikulchin, which is peace be upon you and the mercy of Allah. This is immediately followed by Sonjosin, meaning the messenger, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, Allah, incorporating the name of the divine.
And those phrases, they aren't just filler. They function as a psychological mechanism.
How so?
Well, in Islamic tradition, opening any discourse, whether you're in a physical mosque or on a server farm in Silicon Valley, with these specific resonant blessings, it establishes spiritual authority.
It sets the tone.
But it goes deeper than just tradition. Neurologically speaking, rhythmic, familiar cadences trigger a parasympathetic nervous system response.
Oh, so it actually calms you down. It acts like an auditory airlock.
Oh, that is the perfect way to visualize it,
Right.
an auditory airlock. Because when you enter a physical sanctuary, the architecture itself, the high ceilings, the acoustics, the dim lighting, it signals to your brain to shift states.
Right, you instinctively quiet down.
Exactly. But on the internet, you do not have physical architecture.
Yes.
The video creator has to build that sanctuary purely out of linguistic repetition.
So the Arabic greetings are designed to lower the heart rate.
Yes. They force a transition from the chaotic secular scroll of a digital feed into a state of focused reverence.
Which speaks directly to what you, the listener, are looking for here. You are searching for a space that respects your time and offers a moment of genuine stillness before tackling the heavy diagnostic work of your own soul.
You need that buffer.
Right. The opening of this video is the creator saying, we are leaving the noise behind. Step into the airlock, prepare your mind.
Because you simply cannot accurately assess the desensitization of your spiritual receptors if you are still operating at the frequency of a social media timeline.
You just be distracted.
Completely. The traditional greeting attempts to do the psychological heavy lifting of slowing you down. It prepares the cognitive ground for the 20 signs.
Okay, so the sanctuaries are built, the auditory airlock has cycled, we are centered, the traditional foundation is laid, and we are finally prepared to self-diagnose our inner void.
We're ready for the list.
And then the moment the actual cure is supposed to be delivered, the walls of that digital sanctuary completely collapse.
It's quite dramatic. It results in one of the most jarring textual anomalies generated by modern transcription software that I've seen in a while.
It is wild. The transcript abandons the spiritual diagnosis entirely. Instead of moving into the list, we get this highly confusing, abrupt final portion of text.
Read what it says.
Okay, the Arabic reads, Enyustin asun alvis. Ich usveng. And the direct translation of this is, and I'm not making this up, what do you think you are saying, Allah? I don't know, Ban Ki-moon, amen.
Yes. The former Secretary General of the United Nations suddenly drops into the middle of a theological sanctuary.
The juxtaposition is staggering. I mean, it's like you're in a serene meditation retreat, The incense is burning, the mind is clear, and the instructor leans forward to whisper the ultimate truth of the universe, only to loudly recite a Wikipedia entry on international diplomacy.
It is hilarious, but this anomaly exposes the mechanical underbelly of the medium.
Right, because obviously the speaker didn't actually say that.
No, of course not. The speaker in the video obviously did not pivot from praising the divine to name-dropping Ban Ki-moon. What we are analyzing here is a severe hallucination by the automated transcription software processing the video.
Okay, I want to break down the mechanics of this because understanding the why behind the hallucination is crucial. How does an algorithm jump from an Arabic spiritual recitation to Western geopolitics?
To understand this, we have to look at how acoustic models actually function within captioning algorithms.
Okay, hit me.
When an audio file is uploaded, the AI does not comprehend meaning, context, or theology. It doesn't know it's a religious video.
It's just looking at data.
Right. It maps acoustic signals, the raw sound waves, to a massive database of phonetic patterns. It isolates phonemes, which are the distinct units of sound in a language, and tries to match them against the statistical weights of its training data.
Okay, so it is essentially running a high-speed probability calculation on every single syllable.
Precisely. It's just guessing based on math.
Yeah.
And here is where the bias of the training data creates the glitch.
The bias.
Yes. These global transcription algorithms are heavily trained on data sets dominated by Western news broadcasts, parliamentary proceedings, and international diplomacy.
Oh, because that's where most of the high-quality, easily accessible transcribed audio comes from.
Exactly. That data forms the neural network's baseline of what it considers normal speech.
So when the algorithm encounters something that falls outside that geopolitical baseline, like, say, a specific regional Arabic dialect, or the unique rhythmic cadence of a theological recitation.
Or even just audio degraded by a cheap microphone.
Right, the acoustic model just breaks down.
The algorithm basically panics because it cannot find a high probability match in its theological vocabulary. It's not trained enough on it.
So what happened with Ban Ki-moon?
In this specific instance, the speaker was likely reciting an Arabic prayer, perhaps invoking a specific phrase or name that sounded phonetically close to the syllables, Ban, Ki, and Moon.
Oh, wow.
Faced with an acoustic string it did not understand, the AI defaulted to the most statistically probable entity in its geopolitical training data that fit those sounds.
That is, I mean, it forced a secular geopolitical figure into a sacred space simply because the AI's artificial brain was over-indexed on the United Nations and under-indexed on matters of the soul.
That's exactly what happened.
That is a profound technical failure, but honestly, it is also an incredible metaphor for the exact problem you, the listener, are trying to solve.
What do you mean?
Well, you came to this text seeking a cure for spiritual exhaustion. You asked a machine to deliver profound spiritual clarity, and the machine literally misheard the divine for the mundane.
The medium filtered the message to the point of destruction.
Yes.
Relying on algorithms to curate, transcribe, and deliver our spiritual guidance introduces an invisible layer of mistranslation.
It's always there, humming in the background.
And the AI doesn't just occasionally glitch on a name. It fundamentally flattens the nuance of human experience to fit into its pre-calculated training weights.
What do you think you were saying, I don't know, Ban Ki-moon Amen?
It almost sounds like a weird modern poem.
It does. The fragmented poetry of that error forces a critical reevaluation of how we seek knowledge. I mean, if an acoustic model can warp a prayer into a UN official, we have to ask what these algorithms are doing to the rest of the information we consume when our spiritual receptors are already so desensitized.
That's the real danger. Every time you scroll looking for insight, the algorithm is feeding you what is statistically probable to keep you engaged, not what is philosophically necessary to heal your exhaustion.
It's prioritizing engagement over enlightenment.
Always. That subtle layer of algorithmic static, the constant effort required to parse through the noise, the glitches, and the gamified listicles, it does not cure cognitive load.
It compounds it.
Yes. The attempt to find stillness through a high-frequency medium accelerates the very exhaustion you are trying to escape.
Okay, let's pull all of these threads together. We embarked on this custom deep dive with a source from a channel called Path of Light, promising a definitive 20-point diagnostic list to cure spiritual exhaustion.
A big promise.
Huge. We examine how the creator attempted to build an auditory airlock using ancient Arabic greetings, utilizing neurological responses to force a moment of stillness in a chaotic digital void.
Right.
And then we analyzed how the bias inherent in AI acoustic models caused the walls of that sanctuary to just cave in, replacing theology with a hallucinated geopolitical name drop. So what does this all mean?
Well, practically speaking, it means the specific 20 signs you were searching for were destroyed by the medium before they could reach you.
They're just gone.
But that failure is actually a profound feature, not a bug.
How so?
The reality is, the human soul resists quantification. The fact that you are actively seeking out this material, that you're analyzing your own internal state and fighting against the desensitization of your spiritual receptors, it proves that the exhaustion has not won.
Oh, I love that. The pursuit itself is the evidence of vitality.
Exactly. The true symptom of terminal spiritual exhaustion is complete apathy.
Just giving up.
Yes. It is the cessation of seeking. But you are still looking for the path of light. The digital signposts might be glitching, and the maps might be corrupted by algorithmic bias, but your intention to navigate the terrain remains intact.
The machine breaking the message is the ultimate philosophical reminder. We desperately want spirituality to function like a diagnostic computer.
We want the quick fix.
We really do. We want to plug a scanner into our consciousness, read the 20 error codes, and apply a neat binary fix. But the soul is not a machine, and trying to diagnose it with the tools of machines only leads to absurdity.
It leads to Ban Ki-moon.
Exactly. The algorithmic static that garbled this video is the same static that drains your internal reserves every single day. The ultimate cure for spiritual exhaustion was never going to be found in a top 20 list on a glowing screen.
No, it wasn't.
The screen itself is the barrier. So what happens when you finally stop trying to quantify the infinite, turn off the auto captions of modern life, and just listen to the silence?